Hello everyone, this is grade 5, module 6, lesson 25 homework. For number 1 it states, for each written phrase, write a numerical expression and then evaluate your expression. So let's take a look at A. It says 40 times the sum of 43 and 57. The first thing that I like to do is turn word form into number form. So 40 times the sum of means I'm going to have to find this sum of 43 and 57 before I can multiply. Well, I know with my order of operations or my steps for solving, I would have to multiply 40 times 43 before I add in my 57 because multiplication comes before addition. But it's telling me in this statement here that I have to do the sum first. So I know if I put parentheses around it, it's telling me to do this addition first, then multiply it by 40. So that's why I'm adding the parentheses in. So now that's my numerical expression. I can do 40 times 43 plus 57. I don't need my multiplication sign in there. I could just push the 40 up next to the parentheses, or I could even write it as 43 plus 57 in parentheses times 40. So my solution, I'm going to do my adding first, and I know 43 plus 57, that's going to give me 100 times 40. And I'll end up with 4,000. So on to B. For this one, I'm just going to write the expression. Divide the difference, and there's that key word, when it tells me to answer it first, I know that I'm going to have to do the difference first between 1,300 and 950, and that's difference, so I'm subtracting by 4. So I have to divide 1,300 by the difference of this. So I'm going to subtract these, then divide by 4. But I know I have to divide the difference, so I have to solve this first, meaning the answer to a subtraction problem. So I would subtract these out first and then divide by 4. For C, we have 7 times the quotient of 5 and 7. Quotient means division. So I have 5 divided by 7. And I have to multiply this by the answer to this problem. So I'm going to put it in parentheses first, meaning I have to divide that out first. So when I write this, I'm going to have 5 divided by 7 times 7. And this is kind of an interesting one because I know if I do 5 divided by 7 times 7, I'm going to get the same thing. This is a nice review of inverses. So 5 divided by 7, or 5/7, times 7. And when I multiply by fractions, I have to make sure that I have a denominator there. I'll get 35 over 7, which equals 5, which is what I started with right there. And the last one, 1/4 the difference of 4/6 and 3/12. So 1/4 the difference, meaning we're subtracting 4/6 minus 3/12. And when it says 1/4, it means 1/4 of the difference. So I'm multiplying it by 1/4, or dividing it by 4, And I have to make sure that I have my 4/6 minus 3/12. Because I have to find the difference of these two fractions first before I multiply it by 1/4. And remember, for those fractions inside the parenthesis, we need common units, or as some of you like to say, common denominators. So that'll help you out to get solving there. Let's take a look at page 2. And here we are on page 2. Number 2, it says write at least 2 numerical expressions for each written phrase below, then solve. I'm going to write 1 and solve. 3/5 of 7. And I know that I can switch those around because of the commutative property, so that could be my second one. So I guess I will do this one. Another way is I could write it like this. Because when I multiply, it doesn't matter the order in which I multiply them. I'm still going to get the same answer. And then I would just multiply these out. Multiply my numerators, multiply my denominators, and then I could change that back to a mixed number by dividing. And I got 1, and that's going to be my new numerator and my existing denominator, or the number that I'm dividing by, my divisor. So 4 1/5. Now 1/6 the product of 4 and 8. So 1/6 the product of 4 and 8. So I'm taking 1/6 of this product, meaning I should multiply those two first, because it wants to find the product of these two and then take 1/6 of it. So 1/6 the product of 4 and 8, and then I could obviously change this around to look like this. And I'll leave you to solve that. If we take a look down at 3, I'll do 2 of these probably. Now, we have to put in our greater than, less than, or equal to make the statement true without calculating. So it doesn't want us to calculate these out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of talk you through this. I have 4/10, 3/10, 1/1000. So 3/10 is equal to 30. 4/10, and then 1/1000. And remember, there's a hundredth. There's hundredths in there as well. So I can see when I compare these, I start at the left, and I see they're both 30. They both have 4/10. This one has a 0 in the hundredths. This one has a 1. So that's going to be greater. It's going to be further to the left on the number line. When I look down below, 5 times 1/10 is 5/10. And then I have 7 thousandths. So those are going to be equal. And I know it says without calculating. I'm just putting them back into number form. This bottom one, I'm going to be able to do really without doing calculations, because I see I have 8, and I have 8s over here, and I'm multiplying by 7 2/10. Well, this is broken apart, but I see I have a 4 and a 3 to make 7, but I have a 3 here and a 5 there, which is higher than 2/10. Because I had 3/10 and 5/10, that makes 8/10. So I already know this one's going to be greater because it has a higher value for this number, the 4 and 3600ths and the 3 and 5900ths. If I put those two together, they're going to be more than my 7 and 20 hundredths. So that's how I'm figuring that one out. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching, and good luck on the rest of your homework.